Alrighty, let's get started. Do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, Jim Lay, would you like to do the prayer? Come on. Yeah. Oh, good. Take your time.
Heavenly Father, we come before you and we ask that you bless us in this town and our residents and everybody who lives here. Look after us, look after our children, look after our finances, look after everything that we've tried to strive for throughout life. We know that you are in your infinite wisdom understand and see everything. And we also know that you're not going to let us know, but we sure appreciate a little guidance every once in a while. In the name of your Son, amen.
Amen. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rubio.
Present.
Councilmember Roberts.
Here.
Vice Mayor Womack.
Here.
Mayor Wynkoop.
Here. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and start with our citizens' question and comments on anything that's not on the agenda. Anybody like to talk to the council? Come on up. Come on up.
I'm Pam Cox, and I live on 17705 Broad Street. And I am very pleased that they widened and also paved Lakeside Drive. I've lived in Montverde, or I bought property here 55 years ago. Practically every street in this town, not all of them, but practically every street in this town is 25 miles an hour. I don't like to speed, but I cannot drive 15 miles an hour. So is there some way the council can see about changing the speed limit to Lakeside so that it's back to 25 miles an hour like it was before they repaved it? That would make it a lot easier. I feel guilty when I'm going over 15 miles an hour, but all of the streets that go into the housing developments, Temple and Broad Street and Porter. So I don't know what I'd have to do to talk you into changing it back to 25 miles an hour, but I wanted to make a request for the town to do that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm glad that I found Montverde 55 years ago. My daughter asked me one time, Grandma and Grandpa like to have their ashes put in the Gulf of Mexico. Where do you want yours? I said, I want you to add some glitter to them and sprinkle me in the front yard because I am not leaving here.
All right. All righty. Anybody else?
Jim Peacock, 16549 Lowry Road. Several months ago, I reported on the algae blooms in Lake Florence. I just gave the council members and the town manager a copy of a proposal from the lake doctors for treating the algae blooms with an algicide. From what I gather, the blooms have improved, but not a lot. I would say maybe improved 25%. I still have a lot of the suspended algae around my dock. This proposal is amount of $3,000, and if you look at section A on the first page, it says includes a major application for filamentous algae. Follow-up inspection and treatment, if required, will be provided approximately 15 to 30 days later. Acceptable level of control shall be 90%. If we can get 90% control in that lake, that would be absolutely fantastic in my view. So I'm just requesting that the town release the lake doctors. They already have a contract with them, I know, to treat Franklin Pond, to help us out with this. This is something, I've been on the lake 30 years and never seen anything like this. And again, like I said, I believe it was from the rain we had last fall, the huge rain that caused the road washout in Mount Dora, caused the washing out of a lot of nutrients that cause this. That's been the opinion from some of the experts I've talked with also. If you'd consider that, I'd appreciate it. The other thing, last meeting, an insinuation was made that I was after the vacant council seat. I would like to state for the record, I have no interest in occupying that seat. What I do have an interest in is making sure that whoever occupies it is qualified, capable, and of good moral character. Thank you.
Thank you. All righty. Anybody else? Come on up.
Kelly Moore, 17029 Florence View Drive, Montverde, Florida. I wasn't going to come up here until I just heard Mr. Peacock say that we need someone who's eligible and good standing and moral, has a good moral background, or whatever he said. I happen to know a couple things. One, that Mr. Morganelli only had a misdemeanor. I don't know why it's taken us 2 months to look into this, and we're still asking to look into it further, which it just baffles my mind. But secondly, when this town had a major division, it was over the sewer. And we had the news media here. I think that's where you could go back 2 years ago, where many of us weren't coming to meetings because we thought it was being run well. Well, during that meeting, there was one person and one person only who voted still to put the sewer within 500 feet of our water source. And that person was Mr. Jim Peacock. And against the town, against the wills, you still doubled down on it. Even Mr. Lay was
You're talking to the
gracious
council.
enough to say he
Talk to the
realized he
council.
heard. So I think it's quite appalling to hear him talk about good standing and morals when we already have a man who has been put through the ringer with a misdemeanor. And now we're trying to invent the law to say that a misdemeanor by definition is somehow a felony. I don't understand that. And I'm appalled that we got
That's
this
on
guy
the
up here.
agenda
Thank you.
tonight,
Thank
so-
you.
Okay, thank you. Who wants to talk next?
Robert Tomlinson, 16634 Magnolia Terrace, Montverde, Florida. Basically, what I want to ask the council and also the town manager regarding the CUP that Grant Roberts has is, where are we with the CUP? Is it completed? Is he able to start moving forward? I wanted to know where the process is. Could you help me with that?
He's received an inspection, and I'm sorry, going back, it's been a little while. He doesn't have a certificate of completion to operate it yet because he still has some things to turn into the town. So once he gets those things turned in, then he'll be able to operate.
Okay, got it. And is there a time limit on that? Was he planning on, does he have a particular time that he plans to do that?
I don't know that, what his time is. There's really no time in our code or
Okay.
under the
I
CUP.
didn't know if,
Yeah.
if there was some conversation in that arena. Okay.
I'm
Understood.
assuming that he's continuing to work and visit with DEP, so I assume part of that's
Okay.
the situation.
The other thing that I wanted to bring out, and this is basically a question to you, Grant Roberts, and that is that you've had now 3 different times with the Florida Department Environmental Protection, 3 stays, and you have not let them do what they want to do on your property. Is there a time that they plan to actually, that you're going to give them permission finally to go on your property to double check to make sure that those particular drums are taken care of?
Sure. So my environmental consultant is working with FDEP and the town, and when there's a substantial update, I'm happy to share it. Until then, these attacks and misinformation, which my lawyer says are defamatory, and known falsehoods will not be addressed.
Okay. what falsehoods are we talking about? Because I don't know of any falsehoods. All I'm going is from an actual report from the EPA and also the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. It's in their report stipulating that Tower Chemical employees did definitely put drums of their product into the dump, which is on your property. That's
So-
in the report. Is that a falsehood, or is that a statement that is real?
So I've heard that you've been calling yourself an expert on this.
I've never called myself an expert.
Okay.
That's out of your mouth, not mine.
That's what I've been hearing. I heard it out of your mouth on a
Well,
video.
there you go.
And then, so you would know that there's been no link to our property with Tower Chemical. DEP said that in several of the reports, and EPA said that. There's no link to anything that they found on that property with anything with Tower Chemical.
Other than reports from the employees stipulating that they did put the chemicals on your property, and also residents in that report stated that they saw it as well. So that to me says it's there. There's never been anything stating that it's been cleaned up. Has there? Now, there is another company that's doing the same thing and very successful that you're trying to do, and that is Top Notch. And they actually took over the Tower Chemical property, but they did it the right way. They got permission. They got, it's clean, do it, you can go. You have not received that, and you're actually fighting it. Why?
That's a lie right there that I'm fighting with it. I just told you that we're working with DEP right now.
They want to get on your property, you won't let them.
My environmental consultant's working with them, and we're
All I'm
on the
saying
same
is,
page.
we're talking directly to them, and and we're doing it as the president of my association. We're contacting them personally, and they are stipulating you have not given them permission. You're stalling, and we don't want to know why.
Not stalling, they're just
You're
working together.
a councilman, sir. Your job is to take care of all of the people here. That's your fiduciary. You are not doing it. You're thinking more about your property and what you want to make off of it than actually making sure this is clean and that you have approval from the Florida DEP.
I've
With
reviewed
that,
This
with
begins
that,
to sound like it is a personal attack. If you have an
It's
issue
not a
with him
personal
as
attack.
a resident,
It's not a
please take it
personal
up
attack.
outside of
It is-
council.
it is an
The town
actual
has no
fact.
business with this.
no one's asking you to talk.
10
is
seconds,
a
10
private
seconds,
Thank
10
you.
seconds.
I'm finished. I'm fine.
Thank you.
not
All right,
town business.
anybody else? You already came up, Gil.
I'm going to make a little bit of a lighter discussion. 2 years ago, we did a charter change, and we went to a strong, you hear me? Can't hear me? Okay, 2 years ago, we went to a strong type of a position for our town manager, and we went through the whole hiring process. We hired Paul. It was a win-win. I wanted to thank Paul for his service. I wanted to thank him for all his hard work. Mostly I want to thank Kathy. We got 2 for 1.
Yeah.
So it was very nice. It's been a very good win for the town of Montverde. We've got a lot accomplished since then. Thank you, Paul.
Mayor, Council, my name is George Rosario. My address is protected. I am here to share my opinion. I have been watching on South Lake TV the debacle with the councilman and his conviction. And I know it's on the agenda to be discussed. But it's a shame that the city has to be put through this ordeal. And it's going to be very costly to the city and the taxpayers. You have an obligation and a decision to make. And the reason I'm here is because I'm also a victim of the same situation that your councilman is, from someone in-house who also did the same thing to me. And yet, I'm still standing because God is good. It only made me stronger. But I will say to you that what's being done to this man is an injustice, just like it was done to me.
That's on our topic tonight.
And I understand it is.
If it's on this schedule, you
And
can't.
I understand it is, but
we're
what
not
I want to
supposed to be
say
talking
is,
about it.
what I like to say is, that
Go ahead
I
and say
ask
it.
that the city attorney resign because of the debacle that she left in the city of Groveland. Okay, in the city of Groveland.
I don't know if you're
In a
listening
mess.
to me. That subject's on our agenda.
I'm
We're not
mentioning,
talking about it right now.
I'm mentioning the city of Groveland. I'm not mentioning what's on your agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is my opinion. In my opinion, it is a shame that this man has to go through that. You're not hurting only him. You're hurting the city, the taxpayer, plus his family. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Joe Morganelli, 16535 Highland Avenue. Let me get my paperwork here ready. All right, have some, you guys. All right, I have just a few things tonight. First, actually, I didn't provide this to you yet, to the clerk. I provided a copy to the clerk, a document that I received from Pennsylvania State Police. The document shows that on Friday, December 5th, 2025 at 12:40 p.m., Grant Roberts requested the report that we now know is anonymous. It was delivered to him on December 9th. I think we now can stop saying anonymous. Second, I want the residents to know that on April 1st, I sent a demand for retraction to the town, both by email and certified mail. As of tonight, I have not received a response. For the record, I have just delivered to each council member a copy of the Pennsylvania State Police report and a demand letter from my attorney. Have a nice night.
All right, thank you very much. Anybody else?
I am Farmer Banks Helfrich. I live in the Clay Road District. Farm tip of the day. You can put your summer crops into the ground now, such as watermelons, black-eyed peas, okra, sweet potatoes, and believe it or not, loofahs. That's right. In Florida, loofahs grow wild. The great thing about loofahs is that you can actually eat them. When they're green, they taste, so I'm told, like cucumbers, or you can wait till they're dried out. You can peel them, shake out the seeds, and you have an exfoliating device. What is a loofah? A loofah is one of those scrubby things that look like a sponge, people think are sponges, that exfoliate with. Mayor, council, distinguished guests, there is a farm in South Lake County up near Claremont. It is close to the Lake Ridge Winery. It is 7 acres in capacity, and it holds 15 different gardens. There are 3 farmers which work the farm, and they participate in what's called crop share, which means any of the yield they share with themselves, and any extra is for the community. They give to the community. They like to do 2 things. They like to grow things, and they like to give things away. The 15 different gardens include a food forest, an orchard of over 88 fruit-bearing trees, a sugarcane row which is harvested and the community is invited to harvest every March, a cassava or yucca row which is also harvested in December. It has a vineyard of 15 different, mainly muscadine grapes, plants which yield about 40 pounds of grapes per year. There is a raised bed garden, a vegetable garden, an herb garden, a Monet garden, which is actually flowers, which look like a Monet painting. There's a tea garden. There's also a pineapple patch and also a blackberry patch. Every month, this farm is opened up to the community. The gates are opened up for the community to come and experience the farm. 4 things happen. One is there is a tour. This tour is roughly 90 to 120 minutes long. There is a taste. The whole farm is organic, no pesticides, no herbicides. So we pick right off the tree and eat it, right off the ground, right off every single plant. It is a teach. The whole concept of this farm is to teach others how to grow their own food. One of the ways to bring down grocery costs is to grow your own groceries. And the last thing is a takeaway, which means trees and plants and seeds are given away so that those who are there, the attendees, can grow their own farms or their own backyard gardens. This farm is not owned by the master farmer. It is actually borrowed from his children and his grandchildren. And this farm is appropriately named the Giving Farm. I am Farmer Banks Helfrich, advocate for South Lake County, candidate for State House District 25, and I also reside on this farm. May you all be blessed. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you very much. Kelly, you already came up.
I just have one comment here.
You already came up. It's one time. Move on. It's
Ms.
one time,
Lorena,
Kelly. One time.
This has to do with the CUP. It will be a
It doesn't
another
matter.
chance to talk about this?
You had your 5 minutes.
Okay.
You're done. All righty, anybody else? Come on up.
Michael Whidden here, 17635 Broad Street. There were some disparaging remarks made about Jim Peacock. I want to tell you, man, the guy has served this community outstandingly. And there's just no need to stoop that low. The same person made comments about Grant not living in town. Went after Carol on one of them. We don't need this kind of crap in our town. You know, it's okay to have a different opinion and stuff like that. But getting down and dirty like that, there's just no need in it. So this has got to kind of come to a stop right here. And the way I look at it, it's just getting worse and worse. Everybody's divided. You know, it's MAGTERS against everybody, or it's this against that. Need to work together. You know, if Joe wants to run again, elections are coming up. Let him do it then and there. You know, so that's all I've got to say.
Thank you. Anybody else like to talk to the council about anything that's not on the agenda? All righty, we'll move on. Let's move on to town manager's report on the committees.
Thank you, Council. Just want to report a couple things. Shortly after the last meeting, Mayor Joe, myself, we had the honor of giving a presentation before the South Lake Chamber Policy Committee meeting, which is made of various leaders in Lake County. They were interested in discussing how we control growth and how we started the manager form of government. And we also were able to discuss the ISBA, and we talked a lot about the challenges posed to especially small cities from preemption that's coming from the state. So it was a really good meeting. Appreciate the mayor for taking time to attend that, and everybody at South Lake Chamber for inviting us. I wanted to also report our children's program at the library is exploding. Last late April, we had 21 kids, not including the parents, just 21 kids attend one of the Tuesdays programs that they did there. I think they were taking larvae and hatching butterflies and took them to the butterfly garden. So thank you, Sandy and Kathleen. They've been doing a great job with the kids programs over there. I also want to recognize, just take a moment, recognize Mai. She's done outstanding the last couple of weeks. Our auditors have been in working through the audit, and it's a lot of work getting through that process, and she's been coming in on weekends and working to do that along with some of the other staff assisting her. So just a shout out to Mai for a great job. Next, I just wanted to point out we have our Impact fee report is in your council packets for your review. In addition is the Highway Patrol report, and we edited it. We noticed the one that went out was missing a couple months, so I think there was a new one put on your desk there, but those are your numbers for the Highway Patrol report. And Lake County Fire and Rescue numbers are there. I still owe the council the grant report, just with the audit going on. We just didn't have time to get with it with a short start of the month, so we'll get that updated for you next time. And jumping over to capital projects. So the library emergency generator, I believe we'll have the agreement for your approval for that. We did get a FEMA grant for that. It appears Sandy's got some notification. So Sandy's been attending and doing our emergency management administrator meetings with Lake County. That's also something you're going to approve the agreement, which we do every 2 years with Lake County. Part of their emergency response. But it appears we might also have received the match through a state fund of about another $36,000 for that as well. So we're still looking into what that looks like. We just got notice the other day and haven't had a chance to review it. Lake County Fire Station is moving along. The trusses are getting ready to swing out there, and so still kind of looking for spring next year. The Porter Avenue First Storm Street project, they've been working a lot on the underground piping right now, and so it's going good. So next they're going to put some gravel down and start working on the swells on the side. So that is scheduled to be completed around June 15th, and that again is a grant funded project. The boat ramp and storm project, they got about another 2 months of using the boat ramp. I hear the Ferndale Tower is starting to go vertical, at least when I met with them. The contractor that's doing that is one of the premier. He's worked on the one in Howing Hills, but he's one of the premier boat ramp builders in the area that does most of the boat ramps for Lake County. It was highly recommended by Lake County. They're going to get me a price for doing the boat ramp out here. His words were, we can work you a heck of a deal because we have all of our dewatering equipment sitting here. We have all of our everything we would need to do the job where we don't have to pay for all that staging. So I'm getting a price for them to run that slab in the water to see what it would be. And we can, once I get that, I'll bring that probably at the June meeting for you guys to look at. See if you want to act on that or just wait and go out to bid later. Truscott Park, nothing new there. FEMA has kind of gone back and they're kind of working one hurricane at a time from the oldest back, so we're not even on Milton yet. And we'll have to redo some storm money project for that. The 455 Storm Street project, sidewalk project, we're still working with the state to get the grant agreements put together on that. It's been really slow trying to get those from them, just from staffing issues on their end. So hopefully we'll have those by the June meeting. I am getting a price on 8th, 9th, and Temple separate if we don't do it as a part of the stormwater grant project. I'm getting a price if we just did an overlay like we've done on other streets and adding some width to it and putting the sidewalks in so you guys can have that. The tentative numbers right now, we have the monies from the developer, which is $1.5 million to do 8th, 9th, and Temple. Doing this alternative way, we could also probably include Kirkland and Broad in it and still have money left over. So I'll try to share that proposal with you here in the next meeting or two. So just something for you to chew on and think about for later if you want to proceed that way, just kind of working with our local contractors like we've done on other streets and projects. The elevated water storage, so all these next one, the elevated water storage tank, the redundant upper fluoridating well, the new lower fluoridating well, the line site, and the line loopings, that's all a part of our $12.9 million Shafi grant that we're working on. As I told you, we submitted the plans for review into the state. We've been having back and forth. DEP, as I mentioned at the last meeting, the EPA, we're looking at possibly pulling both of those grants back, and the reason why is strictly because they want to see physical hurricane damage, so they've tightened it. We've been spending a lot of time, our engineers. Long story short, I had a conversation on Friday with DEP and the Shafi grant for the water system. They've approved it. EPA's given us the go-ahead. We have to update the facility to plan to show some electrical outages and things along that line. The Shafi grant for the stormwater project, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to do that. In the grant language, it's specifically tied to damages to a wastewater treatment plant. You can do stormwater projects, but there has been some damages to a wastewater treatment plant. We don't have a public wastewater treatment plant, so that one's going to fall on the side. With that said, DEP is working with us because we've been 2 years and they're the ones who encouraged us to go when we switched it from the sewer to the storm. They encouraged it. Just the fine language in there, no one got to. The long story short, DEP is going to work with us. They've already set us up with different people and different agencies. They're going to work with us to move those to other grants. Since we already have the facility plans already done and funded, and they are going to pay for the whole facility plan out of that because they recognize they approved it to go forward. So they're paying for the facility. But what that one grant's going to turn into probably 5 or 6 different grants, long story short. So we're already putting those together and getting those in place for the town to continue to move forward. Because again, the facility plans are already done with those. So you'll be in good shape to move forward with that. Just it's going to come from a different source of funding as we go forward. The water consumptive use permit, so still working with our team over there to get everything finalized. We're just working on the final irrigation well numbers we're trying to get put together. They are going to, not only the LFA well, they do want to see some lake water hookup. The Osgood property actually is good timing because they actually issued the CUP for them to hook up the Lake Apopka for their irrigation water, which the town will then have, so that's going to help us. In addition, we'll probably have to do something at Lake Apopka to hook a little bit of lake or pond water into that one to satisfy the CUP. So we're expecting to get everything in here. It's just about ready to go on that end, and we hopefully should have that permit shortly. Be glad to answer any questions if you have any.
No, thank you very much. Move on. Anita, do you have anything?
I do. You had wanted an update on property tax legislation. Nothing moved forward in this 26th legislative session. There may be a special session called for that later this summer, but at this time the governor has not set a date for that. Some other legislative action that will be impacting the town is some new legislation that goes into effect in January regarding use of town funds for promoting or adopting any rules or regulations or using funds that relates to diversity, equity, and inclusion. There is some legislation that goes into effect July 1st that we'll have to address in your LDRs regarding the construction of chickees by the Seminole tribe or Miccosukee tribe members. As of July 1st of 2026, the town is prevented from regulating greenhouse gas emissions. I don't think we have anything in your LDRs that address that that we have to be concerned of, but we'll obviously go back and check that. In January of 27, a new law goes into effect relating to the application of fees that are associated with development permits and development orders, which will include building permit fees and how those are to be calculated in your fee schedule. So we will have to update some of the fee schedules that go into effect January 1st of 27. Local governments are now going to be restricted from imposing restrictions on permits or approvals for facilities that process compost. So that has been preempted and the local governments cannot regulate that any longer. Effective July 1st of 27, we'll have to make some changes to your comp plan and LDRs relating to how you determine what compatibility is relating to allowable residential uses within residential zoning categories and future land use categories. So quite a few things that we'll be looking at when we go through your comp plan and LDRs to make sure that we bring forward things to get you into compliance with the new laws. And that's all I have at this time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Move over to our planner, please.
Thank you. I can provide a quick report tonight. Last month we processed fewer permits, I would say in the 11 to 12 range, so that was down a bit. Wednesday has been working well. We had a very busy Wednesday last week. I think we had residents come in pretty much all morning long The Wednesday before was a little bit quieter, but everything's going well. And just want to encourage you, if you have a home project, to come and see us on Wednesday mornings, anytime between 9 and 1. And we can talk about your project, and we've got really nice how-to guides that can help you get started and understanding the code. So we're there for you, and you're welcome to come anytime. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you. Yes, we have QR codes as well, that when you scan the QR code, it takes you to a sheet that tells you a little bit about your project. And then at the bottom of the sheet, it takes you into the development code so you can learn more. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Sean, do you have some county stuff?
No, sir, nothing to report tonight. I think I'll keep it quiet. There'll probably be more this coming month.
All righty, thank you very much. Move on to council. Brian, do you have something?
Not necessarily, just a quick question. Obviously, I've been attending meetings for a little bit before I got on here. Never seen a sheriff here before for the meeting. Just wondering who authorized that, or I guess what's the purpose behind that? Like, why tonight?
Felt like doing it tonight.
Okay. Is it going to be an ongoing thing, or?
I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Paul?
I guess I've had residents at the last meeting that left the meeting because they didn't feel safe. I was told that by 2 different residents that literally walked out of the meeting, told me afterwards they didn't feel safe just with all the back and forth going on. So that's why the deputy's here. And we need to get back to normalcy, obviously, at our meetings. So
that's it.
Ready? Carol, do you have anything?
Just real quickly, circle back to your stormwater. When you talked about 8th and 9th, how does that affect Neil? 8th and 9th? On the stormwater?
Oh, like Neil and Oak and all that? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a part of that stormwater project. So, yeah,
So-
it'll have to be written into another stormwater agreement grant.
Would that be done at the same time that you would do the 8th and 9th?
It just depends on how they would lay out. They don't necessarily have to be done at the same time, but it could be. It just depends on what it looks like. So you can still use that money for, grants have limitations. You have to use them for certain things, and they're very specific depending on what type of grant. Some of them are clean water grants. Some of them are resilient grants. So they all have different functions, and so we just have to see if we can find the right grant for that particular problem that we're having there.
I was just kind of curious if the construction maybe was going to come back to back, or if there would be some separation between the two.
You're probably going to see a lot of separation now.
Yeah.
With the original grant, we could have done everything at one shot, which would have been hard, honestly, to do in a year and a half with the time frame we had with all delays from DEP. But now it'll actually give you a little room to breathe, because the new grants, you'll have a 2 to 3 year period to do it once they're issued, and they'll probably be smaller amounts or manageable amounts. You'll see a lot of $2 to $5 million grants somewhere in that ballpark.
The only other thing, and I think Miss Pam has probably left, we did drop the speed limit on Lakeside to 15 during the construction. I don't see any reason why we can't turn it back to 25 if everybody's agreeable with that.
I mean, I'm fine at councils. If I recall, I don't know who it was, but it seems like 1 or 2 people at a meeting asked to keep it at 15 by the park. I don't remember who it was. Or
There is that issue. Some signage for kids and pedestrian crossing, that would definitely help. If the speeding gets bad, then we'll take another approach.
Yep.
But
it's fine. Is council okay with the 25 on Lakeside, or you want to bring it up and talk about it later?
I'm okay with it.
I'm fine with it.
I would say bring it up maybe at the next meeting or something.
You want to go down on it?
Do
You want to
5.
lower it?
it's at 15, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Which nobody
yeah.
does.
Let me just I'll throw it on the next meeting, and let me take a look at it. And
That's good.
And that way, maybe the residents that wanted it at 15 could come to the meeting if they want to speak about it.
Yeah, that's fair. We've got to give people a chance to come and talk about it.
I'm all game.
Okay. So that'll be in next month's meeting, right? Okay. All righty. Anything else?
Nope, just the signage and, crosswalks, the traffic that comes out from the maintenance center, they barely slow down or take a look left or right, so that's all in the big picture of that. And that's it.
All right, thank you very much. Grant, do you have anything?
Sure. I'd like to address the background check that was provided to us. So, in November of last year, certain actions by Mr. Morganelli led me to file an ethics complaint with the Florida Commission on Ethics. That complaint remains under review. As part of that process, I was advised to conduct a thorough public records review of Mr. Morganelli's background. In early December, during that independent review, I discovered the 1997 Pennsylvania court record. At the time, I was not aware that such a record could potentially affect eligibility to hold public office. I shared the record with a small number of people who already knew about the ethics complaint. I did not submit it to the town attorney, the town manager, or any town official, and I do not know who did.
All right, thank you very much, and I don't have anything. So let's keep on going. April finance report, we started at $5,208,852.53. We ended up with $4,646,682.18. On the consent agenda, we only have one item. I need a motion to approve minutes for town council meeting at April 2nd, 7th, rather, 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve the meetings from April 7th, 2026.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it. We'll move on to the discussion and action items. First one is discussion and direction for vacant council seat. Go ahead, Paul, if you want to explain this.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I want to, especially in light with all the information and misinformation and anger going around, I want to take a few minutes and back up and review some of the documents that were provided to council, some of the information we had, and how we got here. I think we need to have a little bit of clarity. I'm not going into over detail, but I want to go over the overview of those documents because we just need to kind of lay this out a little better. Part of it when this was happening originally, there was a sense not to make it overly public. We were trying to figure out the information. We met with Mr. Morganelli a couple times before it even got public with the information, just for the fact that we wanted to try to get it just in case there wasn't something there. But late January, we received the information that Councilmember Joe Morganelli had a prior felony. So I think we've all discussed that, it was dropped off at Anita's place, and someone dropped it off. A public records request was done. I did one online. I'm not sure the town attorney did one. It was, took 5 minutes and it popped up. And it did show Joe Morganelli was charged with a felony receiving stolen property. This is the record that was provided to us that shows there was an F3 felony and an M3 misdemeanor and a guilty plea and conviction with probation. So that was the public document. This is the document that was pulled off. So this is the information we had at the time. So we weren't going through and creating this kind of stuff. This is what came off the court records. And it showed an F3 receiving stolen property, maximum 15 months. And you see in the top right there, guilty plea. So that was the original documents that we looked at and we had internally. The issue that came up was under Article 6 of Section 4 of the Florida Constitution provides that no person convicted of a felony in the state of Florida or any other state shall be qualified to vote or hold office in Florida until his or her civil rights are restored. And Section 97041 of the Florida statute reiterates that constitutional mandate. So that was the information that obviously got the town attorney involved and myself involved in looking into this matter, because you can imagine with that said and with what we had in front of us, that could create liability for the town if we knew this went on and there was a felony and you had quasi-judicial hearings happening. It could cause those to be contested if they were to fail. Then in early February, myself and Anita, we met with Joe Morganelli, and we advised him that we were researching the matter. We shared our initial thoughts and told him he was likely not eligible to hold office. Mr. Morgan indicated that he believed his rights were restored because he was eligible to vote. So that started a discussion about the crime in Pennsylvania and, was it qualified because it was Pennsylvania, Florida. During those conversations, Mr. Morganelli confirmed and told us personally he had a felony from Pennsylvania. It was nothing he shared, it was nothing he was proud of, and et cetera, and I believed him whole heart. And he also told us he had an attorney working for multiple years on a pardon to get this felony conviction pardoned. He said he had supporting documents with him that he carried and looked at all the time and didn't understand why it took so much time in order for that to happen. So under that time when we had this, Mr. Morganelli was under the impression that he also had a felony and he was working to get it pardoned. After a meeting with Mr. Morganelli, the town attorney and town manager discussed the need to obtain official documents from Pennsylvania from the courts. So, we wanted to make sure everything we had was current. We discussed the need to obtain opinion from an expert attorney in Pennsylvania. Mr. Morganelli brought up that he talked to other attorneys, and there's a matter if it's an infamous crime or a falsity type crime, a bunch of illegal definitions, and he thought that may affect his ability to hold office. Since our town attorney is not familiar with Pennsylvania law and all those different things of how that would affect, because depending on how that crime was in Pennsylvania, it could affect this crime in Florida as far as the eligibility, I authorized her under my authority, which I have under my purchasing policy, to hire a law firm in Pennsylvania at least to get the research done. And again, this was at the time we were trying to gather the information, and it wasn't overly public at this time. February 10th, town attorney notified the town council and Councilmember Joe Morganelli he had a criminal felony record receiving stolen property, so this is your first email that you got, and that they were reviewing to determine if he was eligible. Councilman Morganelli began asking questions about the matter. We met with him. At that meeting here, we discussed it at the meeting as well. Some of the council members started to ask questions about that, and we stopped that. If you recall, we're like, we want to get the information. We don't want to do it. We want to have the information before we go further, so we stopped that discussion here at the council meeting. So in late February, we had additional meetings with Mr. Morganelli at his request. Mr. Morganelli stated to both Anita and I that he had 6 to 8 attorneys review this felony conviction, and that these attorneys informed him that he was eligible to hold office despite prior felony conviction, is what he was telling us and stating. The town attorney requested Mr. Morganelli multiple times to provide those legal opinions or supporting documents. She wanted to review them. She said, please provide those to me. I want to see those please review. It would help us in what we're doing on the research. No follow-up documentation was ever provided. So this is the stuff going in our office behind the doors, us trying to figure all this out. The town attorney issued a preliminary opinion to the council based on the information, so this is in early March, that we gathered at the time, while nothing noting that additional information was still pending and the information we had was still being reviewed. The council scheduled a special meeting for March 17th, 2026 to discuss the matter and further review the available options. And let me understand, this was not a hearing, and it was clear, it was not a hearing to remove Mr. Morganelli. It was a hearing to discuss what the council wants to do next, which you have an obligation to do. And that included taking no action, holding a future removal hearing, filing an action with the court for judicial determination, or referring the matter to the governor. So those were all been options that would have been presented if that hearing happened. No hearing was ultimately held because Mr. Morganelli resigned from office on March 12th of 2026. This is his resignation letter. Please accept this letter as notice of my resignation from Montverde Town Council, effective immediately. Serving the residents of Montverde has been a privilege and an honor. I remain deeply grateful for the trust and support that the community placed in me. I care deeply about this town and its residents, and I will continue to stay involved and advocate in the best interests of the community moving forward. I talked to Mr. Morganelli right before that came in, and it was honest and sincere that he didn't want the town to be divided and broken. He understood, and you know, everything is in that letter. I fully believe it's what he said with a true heart. But during the same time in March, we were still receiving and reviewing documents. Since Mr. Morganelli resigned, the town has stopped examining the matter. Up and even to his resignation, Mr. Morganelli believed that he was convicted of an F3 felony in the state of Pennsylvania. That's important to note, is that he was under the impression that he was a felony because that was the reason he resigned. So all I'm getting at, everything is being pointed our direction, but there's another person involved in this too. And it's the person that actually should be hold himself accountable too for his actions in his past. We were trying to figure it out. He knew what his past was. We didn't. 27 supporting documents were provided to the council, and but the hearing did not take place. So this was all the supporting documents you provided. So again, this was the documents we have, and this is his police criminal complaint. You can see at the very bottom there, a really small print. It refers as an F3 felony. And I will say the records from Pennsylvania were and are a mess. There's no doubt about that. Nothing was good from Pennsylvania. I don't know. I think Mr. Morganelli, I actually looked today. I think he got it corrected where it shows the F3 was pleaded down to M1. And so now the public records are there, corrected. This was also in the documents. This is where the F3 was show that it was pled to an M1, which is an M1 misdemeanor. So on page 5, so this was actually the plea agreement that he entered to that was an M1. So this was also provided to the council. So, you know, again, all this documents went out. It was handwritten in. It never got transferred to the electronic documents. And, you know, that's probably the big oversight there because it was all in electronics, but in the handwritten thing is where we have the M1. And I mean, fair, it does show it in one other document too. And it shows it in the sentence sheet where it got sentenced to a M1. So 2 of the many documents we had. But on the other documents that you go to and what was in question is, in this one was the probation violation that was related to the felony, and which could affect or may have been one of the issues if, you know, I don't know how some states work with probation. If you have a misdemeanor and you have a violation, does it go back to a felony? That's possible. I've seen weird DWI cases with that when I was a law enforcement officer, where they enhanced it back to the original crime when they didn't follow through. I don't think Anita said she doesn't believe that's the case in this because she had some conversation. So just right at the time, though, we were still trying to figure everything out. But again, he resigned, so we stopped looking into it. This is also the other thing I wanted to point out. This is his payment. Of his payments of fines. We were told that this was something 30 years ago, completely forgotten about, didn't know what it was. But according to, again, the court documents, again, at this point, you could take some of it with a little bit of grain of salt, but it shows his last payment for his fines was in 2023, not 30 years ago. Then again, going back to the original documents we had, these are still the same state documents. We're back to where all the electronic documents show everything is F3. Felony, F3, receiving stolen property, F3. And then again, the criminal report shows the felony F3 and the misdemeanor H1 for harassment. Then I also want to show this because this is Mr. Morganelli's signature on his plea agreement, where it states he understood what he was pleading to. I wanted to note that throughout this whole process, Mr. Morganelli told me, oh no, I pled to a misdemeanor. Never brought it up. He was under the impression too it was a felony. So I just want that to be understood and cleared. So where we're at today, Mr. Morganelli resigned the office March 12, 2026. Mr. Morganelli wants to be reappointed to the town council. That's been made clear. The town attorney provided a memo in your packet because Mr. Morgan's eligibility to hold office still is in question, whether he resigned or is appointed to run again. And this is what's in question, and it, again, is not a clear thing, because this whole thing is just complex. Due to Mr. Morganelli's conviction of an M1 crime, receiving stolen property in Pennsylvania, which is punishable by up to 5 years imprisonment. So in Pennsylvania, an M1, and this is what everyone needs to understand, an M1 can be punishable up to 5 years imprisonment. In Florida, the definition of a felony, they define the felony by the punishment you receive. And you can see Article 5, Section 10, the term felony, as used hereon, in the laws of this state, shall mean any criminal offense that is punishable under the laws of this state, or that would be punishable if committed in the state by death or by imprisonment, again, in the state penitentiary. So our Constitution states that the definition of a felony here is what it would be in Pennsylvania. So that's why Anita prepared the memo. That's where we're at today. Again, a lot of this whole research was just brought to a halt because Mr. Morganelli resigned. Anita put together, I'm going to let her speak from now. Anita put together a memo of some options for you to consider and look at, and obviously completely up to council where they want to go, what want to do. But what I want to say is, you know, unfortunate because of this situation, obviously Anita was put in a position that became political. And if you do something, I think it is important that you do an outside counsel, whatever you do on this, because Anita needs to be the one that advises you and not put into political positions. And she's done a great job at being this town attorney for 20 years. I can't tell you how much I respect her and the job that she has done for this town and caring. And it's unfortunate that she got put into this position, but that's part of the job, right? But we need to recognize where it is now and allow someone else to kind of take that and let her be the person that advises you as the next steps, but let someone else work and do the research on this, is my personal opinion to you, council. So Anita, I'll let you go from there.
So the memo just lays out options for the town, and if town council doesn't want to pursue this any further, you certainly don't have to. We just keep getting the questions whether he's eligible to hold office, whether council should reappoint him to the seat, what's going to happen if he qualifies to run, what's going to happen if he gets elected. To put all that to bed, the best way is to get a court opinion, as the Division of Elections cannot render an opinion on this, and so the only way to get an accurate determination that's binding on us all is by going to court. And so that's one of the options, but there are other options here if you want to wait to see if he qualifies or if he's elected in the future and then pursue it at that point. But I just wanted to point out these are your available options if you wish to pursue them, and if you don't, then that's fine too. But I just wanted to make that information available to you.
Alrighty. Boy, that's a lot.
I have a few questions. Paul, I emailed you on Saturday requesting additional information as to the cost that we spent so far on investigating this council member and also the vacant seat process, I assume. I understand it was a weekend. I understand, you know, you don't work, but we still had yesterday and today to, you know, I guess try to put something together. But do you have an estimate as to how much?
I think Anita looked at it. Mine's been on vacation since the audit was done, so I honestly can't even get into the records, but do you have a ballpark, Anita, you can share?
It's a little less, I think it's a little less than around $10,000, but it's in that ballpark.
A little less than $10,000. Now, Paul, you laid this out. Actually, I had my own timeline that I was going to go over, but you did such a great job. I don't think I need to go through this timeline. What I didn't hear in this timeline and the position, I guess, that the town is in, is all this started because a council member decided to color outside the color of the law, to investigate another council member, and then as to what the blame is as to who submitted that anonymously, it doesn't matter. You requested it with the premise of doing something with it. Then, on top of that, Anita was, I guess, by the direction of Paul, green light to investigate this. $9,000 to $10,000. I would think that has to come to council before anything has to be approved and issued and, given the green light for that amount. So I guess to get to one of my points is, whichever route we go, I say we get, yes, outside counsel, but also outside counsel to represent us, not Anita. This is, in so many levels, this is wrong. I don't understand why, the town has come to this, but it is what it is. 2 meetings ago, motioned to obviously reinstate Mr. Morganelli back to his council seat. I did not get a second, so it died. We're out here spending $10,000. Options 1 and 2 are there is no cap. We could go to courts. It's gonna take time. For what? What are we accomplishing with that? The people did elect Mr. Morganelli. 600 and something people elected him. Let him serve out the term. He wants to run, let him run. But for us to sit here and start spending money and wasting money on something that, what does it do for us? What is it going to do? It's actually hindering us because we're down 1 council member. So those are the things I did not hear in this outline by Paul. Again, I think this whole thing started on the wrong premise. It was retaliatory to a certain degree. It shouldn't have gone this far, and it should have been brought up to council. And now we're stuck here, $10,000 in, and we're considering 2 options that could escalate this to hundreds of thousands, I assume. So I just wanted to, point that thing out to the residents because, again, you're only hearing one side of the story, but you should hear the rest. That's all I got for now.
I notified council by email on February 10th that I had received this document and that I was looking into it. At any time, council could have contacted me and advised me or brought up at the meeting that you did not want me looking into it. And the reason that I handled it that way, instead of bringing it to council and asking you to vote on authorizing me to move forward, was because then it would be all a public record. That it was a public record when I got it, but nobody knew about it. And then everybody in the public could have made a request for that document, and they would have received one document that showed a felony conviction of Mr. Morganelli. I was trying to keep that as quiet as possible until we had more information for his protection as well. But I did notify the council on February 10th, I believe it was, and I never got any indication from any council members at a public meeting or privately that you did not want me to look into it. In the future, I will say that council should have a policy, and if you want me in the future to bring things like that forward immediately without any regard for keeping things like this more confidential until we know the facts, then that's what I'll abide by.
And I think Mr. Rubio, I think just one other comment, how it started too, but you got to remember it started when Mr. Morganelli, under the time when he put his signature on the oath of office and when he signed his signature, I'm qualified to run, he knew in the background he had a felony, which made him not qualified to hold the office. And he didn't share that with the public that he ran with or shared it. He signed, I'm qualified to run. And
Was he issued a voter's registration card?
Has nothing to do with qualifying office because voter registrations are restored. But Mr. Morganelli is pretty smart at looking at the background, and AI shines it left and right if you enter it in. But I'm just getting at, there's some responsibility at the very beginning for this not being shared by Mr. Morganelli too. Is all I'm getting at. It's just not because the council member looked into it, if that's the case or whatever it is, wherever how it got found. The fact is it was there and it was never shared from the beginning or never looked at. And he's the one who signed the oath that I'm qualified. It's his responsibility to know he's qualified, as it is yours and everybody else that sits on that council. I just don't want that to be overlooked either.
And Mr. Morganelli handed me 2 documents, one of which is an email from November 13th, 2025. It appears it went from Mr. Morganelli to Paul, CC'd our town attorney. And it reads, I have reviewed your request with the town attorney. We recommend that you bring your request to the town council for consideration. As we previously discussed, the council as a whole needs to grant staff the authority to spend unplanned funds on investigations, research, and projects for individual council members. Please bring this request up during your town council reports. Why wasn't this applied to this investigation?
Is that something that's in our code or our book? I have a purchasing policy where under that. I can
$10,000?
authorize- Yes, I can do up to 50.
Investigating a council member?
Okay, Mr., it wasn't a it was looking into if he was qualified. It's not like we were looking into if he committed a crime. We were looking into it and trying to be quiet about it originally, and that's the thing. I guess at the end of the day, at the very beginning, it was quiet.
Paul, it wasn't quiet. You guys made it a show. You put it on the water bill. You put it on Facebook. There were stories and text messages going around. It was very public.
Facebook, and I did not put it on the water bill.
There were residents, at least a dozen residents, viewed that report way before I got that first email from Miss Anita.
Yeah, I can't be responsible for what people post on
okay.
Facebook. I didn't post anything on Facebook because I don't Facebook.
Yeah. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. We're already $10,000 deep. Do we want to keep going and throw money at this? Was this the hearing? Are we going to give Mr. Morganelli an opportunity to speak, or maybe some residents? Just wondering what the next step is.
All righty, thank you. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment or two. I agree with some of what Mr. Rubio has said, and I agree with some of what Paul has said. What I don't understand, and the felony conviction and not knowing that it was reduced to a misdemeanor. The lack of that information is what started the whole thing. The lack of that information is what started the whole thing. All right? In terms of how the information got out there, I really don't have a comment to that. I venture to say that information has been made public on others sitting at this council. So yes, if there is something in your background that you should probably admit to, it might be a good idea to come clean. But I think that night in council chambers, when Anita sent the email on the 10th, okay, you were in this chair, Joe, and I sat right there. Do you remember what you asked? Let it play out. Let the chips fall where they may. And I thought that was probably the best thing I heard all night. But that didn't happen. You quit. You resigned. Okay? And as a result of that, this is where we are. Had we had the opportunity, if you'd have just stayed on the council and we could have talked it out, we wouldn't be here right now. Okay? Don't point fingers at Anita. Anita based everything she told us on information that she had. Okay? When she had a conversation with you, you didn't remember it was reduced, and I mean that's okay. We'll okay. I know. I'm asking.
Just wait your turn. Wait your
Okay.
turn.
What?
Just wait your turn.
I mean, I had this written out, and it might have just been best to go ahead and read it, but yeah, you talk about disenfranchising voters. Okay? Now, the one thing that I didn't see until I sat here tonight was that your last payment was in whatever it was, 23 something, 13 something?
23.
Okay, 23. And when the 23 and you talk about a felony in 26, I don't understand how you cannot recall that. I mean, maybe, but that's a big pill for me to swallow. That is a big pill to swallow. And when you come up here and you talk about disenfranchising voters, I agree with that. The voters were disenfranchised. but not by anything that this council has done or anything that the town has done. You know, to Anita's defense, 100%. If that information stayed out there and no action was taken, and somebody got bent enough, like some of y'all out there right now, you could easily turn around and slap this town with a lawsuit. That's protection. It's, well, yeah, from the gentleman who didn't remember that his felony was reduced to a misdemeanor. That's kind of sort of what it comes down to. All right, I see your hand, Kelly. You can just put it down, take a wait. All right, thank you. Okay, I'm no doubt that it is. And just to clarify, Grant, that's your expert on EPA. All right.
All right, just wait your turn, or I'm going to have to ask to
So
be
that's my thing,
removed.
disenfranchising the voters. I don't think the town has done that. I think you did that. Okay? 2 days after you resign, that's when that information comes out about the misdemeanor. Okay? To this day, I have not heard an apology to any of the residents who voted for you or any of the residents at all. Your whole stance is how mistreated you've been and no responsibility. None. Just a little. Just a little. You're convinced that you would have had no chance if it had come to a vote. That's not true. That's not true. If you'd have just sat here and thrown it all out when you had that opportunity, but you didn't take it. And that's what bothers me, time and time again through this whole thing. This whole thing has been in your control from day one. And all you had to do was just say, okay, let's talk about it in the open, not on private Facebook pages and holy crap everywhere else. Just, but yeah, it wasn't the town that disenfranchised the voters, not in my opinion. It's the one that had all the responsibility to take all the control and handle the situation, and that was you, Joe. The chips did not fall where they may. You did not let that happen. I'm done, Kelly.
All righty, thank you very much. Anybody else want to talk about it?
Regarding quasi-judicial decisions, how does this, if Councilmember Morganelli was reinstated, how does that affect those? Can someone challenge them if it's a split vote?
I don't know. I haven't looked at that.
And what's an approximate cost for each of these options?
I would have to get a proposal from an attorney that specializes in that area.
All right. Well, here's what we got right now. We got the suggestions, and Anita already went through, and we know the Attorney General's office can do it if we, when I get to it, okay? We know the Attorney General can make a decision on it if it went to the courts, and it would be a yes or no. It wouldn't be an opinion. That's correct, Anita, right?
Right, a court action, you would get a court ruling and the judge would make a determination. The
Okay.
Attorney General opinion, that's an advisory opinion, but, you know, we do rely on Attorney General opinions. I'm not sure that they can issue one in this type of matter. I don't know. That's why I said you would need an attorney to look in to see if that's an opinion that you could obtain from that office.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I'm on the same boat as Carol, and Joe thought he was had a felony until Anita's research came out, and it showed that it was changed by a judge that scribbled on a piece of paper and said he pleaded guilty to an M1. So at that point, I would think Mr. Morganelli would thank Anita for pointing that out after 27 years that he didn't have a felony. And but the crime, from what we're hearing, is classified as a felony in Florida. As far as the voters out there, the voters that voted for Mr. Morganelli did not know all of the history that Mr. Morganelli had, and in my opinion, it would be questionable whether they would vote for him again. And then me doing a little bit of research, and I'm not really good at it. I went on sites like RedX and TechDirt, and one thing that popped off the face of the book to me was a $15 million judgment that Mr. Morganelli lost, and to the American Motion Pictures of America. And I don't know anything about it, but I automatically go, I have to report all my income and debt on Form 1 every single year. I don't know if this is still a debt or not, but that's just something that just popped out by me going to TechDirt and putting in Joseph Morganelli. So if you guys want to read it yourself, go ahead and do that. But what we got to do now is decide. I would think one of these options that we have, Brian's put it on the table to just put them, just put them back in place, right?
If he accepts, and also the retraction of all the statements that were made.
Okay. Brian's got that on the table, and then the other ones here are to have an attorney that's good at this law, or that's what they do, research whether or not we should move forward with getting a judge to more or less make a decision whether Mr. Morganelli can run as an elected official or not in Florida. All right, anybody else on council got anything?
I don't think there's a good solution to any of this.
Well, I'm going to open it up to public because that's what we do.
One question.
Oh, go ahead.
One question. So the reason this would go to a judicial determination is because there's not enough case law to make an accurate determination on how to proceed with this situation, right?
Yeah, I didn't find any case law that applied the definition of felony in the Constitution that Paul read earlier, and that's in my memo, to a case like this. So there was no guidance that I could find.
So, and this is the
so
process
a court decision would give you an answer. That's one of the processes. If you want a final determination and a court ruling, that's an option.
So a court ruling would give us a final determination by law.
Correct.
I feel that's important because it's not an opinion. It's a guilty
And
or
the
not.
question that being asked, how much is that going to cost? Time and money. How much is that going to cost the residents?
As I indicated to Councilmember Roberts, I'd have to get a proposal from an attorney. I don't know. I
Can you
don't
just
litigate
stab at
those
it,
things.
guesstimate?
I would think a minimum of $50,000.
So the residents are basically paying this court opinion. So I want to make sure that that's also
Well, I don't
on
think
the
it'd be
record
a
and weed
court
out.
opinion. We won't pay $50,000 for an
Whichever
opinion.
the route is,
We
whether it's
pay
one or two.
$50,000 for a decision.
Yeah.
That's the way I would interpret that.
So you're willing to spend $50,000 of the residents' money on that
Maybe Mr.
opinion?
Morganelli should have thought of that before he ran for office.
All right. So,
You know, I think that on a lot of things here lately, the town has spent money that it really shouldn't have.
we already
So,
spent 10,
yeah, I
50.
think that having, if it goes to a court and it gets a legal decision, then that is outside of, well, I don't want to say outside because that's like not responsibility, but it's a third-party opinion. It's not mine. It's not yours. It's not y'all's. It's a legal determination from somebody that's not involved in this situation, that doesn't know me, that doesn't know Joe, that doesn't know any of us. It's totally unbiased. And I think that's probably worth every penny that we spend to get an unbiased opinion. And I'm willing to stand by whatever the court says. I'll go by the law. That's it. Law says you can come, I'll jump out of this seat right now and slide over. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But that's not a decision that I didn't have any vote for your past. I don't want to vote for your future. I don't want that responsibility. You're grown. No, I don't want that responsibility. I don't think that responsibility should fall on the town. Not at this point. I think all avenues to actually effectively resolve this are pretty much closed. So the only real option left in my mind is you throw it to the courts and let them decide. It's unbiased. It's legal. And whatever the outcome, that's what we stand on. It's what I stand on. That's how I feel about the matter. It's worth every penny to get it right.
The other option that would clean everything up, which would be in Mr. Morganelli's hands to do, and hopefully with all the stuff of how they handled the Pennsylvania stuff in Pennsylvania, is he can push to get his pardon, and if he has his pardon in Pennsylvania, it should be removed from his record, and then there's no question. So that's an option that he could pursue as well. And I know they have new laws in Pennsylvania. I don't know the details that make that process a whole lot easier now. And then the whole point becomes moot.
Well, I don't think we can make decisions for Mr. Morganelli.
Alrighty. Anybody else on council want to talk? Alrighty, I'm going to open it up to the public. Come on.
Sorry, man, real quick. Just so the fact is, he was charged with a felony, but he was convicted of a misdemeanor in the state of Pennsylvania. The definition up there is, well, because of. Can you go back to the definition? There was a definition on there for the felony, the language for Florida. So we're trying to reclassify that misdemeanor to fit this, so we could essentially say you still got a felony essentially here in Florida if it was tried here and charged here. Is that accurate, or am I just?
I'm not trying to say that. I'm just pointing out this is what the definition of a felony is in the Constitution, and it's not been interpreted by case law that I can find. But as I read it, it's if it's not committed in the state of Florida, but it would have been punishable if it was committed in this state by imprisonment or in the state of penitentiary, which it would have been in Pennsylvania. An M1 in Pennsylvania, you can serve up to 5 years imprisonment. So in Florida, it would have been punishable by imprisonment. So it may be considered still a felony, and you can't hold office with that. I don't know. That's the point, is this can be interpreted that way. And to get a court ruling would be the way to make a determination whether this applies and prevents him from holding office or not.
Okay. Ryan, okay. Okay. Alrighty. So who wants to go first? Come on up. State your name.
Alan Gallagher, 16331 Florence Oak Court. Excuse me. So I've been an attorney for 32 years. I've managed multi-million-dollar cases. I can't figure out why this one would cost $50,000. There's not going to be discovery. Probably not going to be witnesses. I would submit the better path forward, if you want one, is mandatory arbitration. All you're doing is writing a brief. You can write a brief for a couple $1,000. So because you're taking an objective side, and each side is just arguing the commas in that paragraph, doesn't cost a lot of money. You can get it done within a month.
Okay, thank you. So you would say to move forward? Is that what you're saying? To move forward and get it done like that?
I'm saying that parties have an opportunity. It doesn't have to go to the courts, because you're not going to have witnesses. You don't have discovery. It's an argument that's a legal argument, submitted in briefs, find an arbitrator that both parties agree to. A couple $1,000 would be done in a couple weeks.
Okay. Thank you. Next.
Kelly Moore, 17029 Florence View Drive, Montverde, Florida. Okay, the timeline I think was pretty accurate, but it missed some key things, or they were not shown, I guess. Many of us that were here, and it's also on tape, during the March 10th discussion, where the town attorney stated very clearly that she had read the certified copies that were ordered and received from Lehigh County Courthouse. And on those certified copies, it clearly states down by his signature that he pled to a M1 misdemeanor. But during her options to the council and the mayor, She said that she ordered and received those certified copies, and there was an F3. Whether it was charged F3, but F3. The word M1 never came out. And I asked at the time, I'd like to learn why that was not read, because that's the job of the town attorney when you order something to verify what was on the internet that was showed up on our desk. So that didn't go. But what I do have is Mr. Borgonelli did a public records request, and when the town attorney ordered a PA attorney to look into this matter, and I understand somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,300 was spent without council's approval, even though there's a ceiling here of $50,000. A gentleman named Tim Ford, I guess is the attorney up in Pennsylvania, and in his first paragraph, and this is the interesting part, it states here on March 12th, it says that, I'll read it to you verbatim. It says, on May 15th, 1997, Mr. Morganelli pled guilty to receiving issues of stolen property and valuing this, and he received a M1 misdemeanor. So I'm looking at this thinking, well, wait a minute. We consulted a PA attorney to look into the matter in Pennsylvania. I know there's more to the law with us looking at the infamous crime and the crime facie, but right on the surface, the first paragraph, and this is the point I'm trying to make. Council sat here and heard the town attorney say he had an F3 felony after verifying certified court records. Mr. Morganelli went out of here hearing the three options. One, he could remain on council, but his votes of any consequence may be challenged. You could vote to remove him, or he could have a hearing where then you give him the 7 days and he could still be voted on to be removed. 2 days later, she gets a certified email from someone that we're paying for telling her that he absolutely has an M1. I'd like to know why that information wasn't shared with the council and the mayor immediately if we didn't already acknowledge the M1 on March 10th. Because on March 10th, you had the certified copy, it said it. On March 12th, you got it, it still said he had an M1. So the whole town has been looking at this, it's been in the water bill, that he's a felon. And I'm wondering, you know, why we didn't communicate, because Mr. Rubio is correct in saying he didn't authorize us looking into these, this investigation, but when we did it and we spent the money, we didn't get the information until weeks or months later. And I as a resident, you know, and I know Mr. Morganelli, I'm thinking, why is this going on so long? And the other thing the town may not be aware of is that there was a time, maybe back in November, where Mr. Morganelli was asking for Mr. Roberts' support for one of the positions on council, and Mr. Roberts, as I was told, was supportive of that until he wasn't. And at that point, there was some kind of a confidential ethics review going on, and that's when Mr. Roberts decided that he's going to do a background check. So if we go back, I'm thinking, gee, we're looking at all this time, all this division, where we have one council member investigating another one, and we had two opportunities to tell the council, in fact, it was just an M1, even though the database said it was a felony. But when we got the certified copy, it said M1. I've seen it. I'm looking right here on my phone, and I see the March 12th, not last week, but March 12th, 2 days after we were in council chambers, and all of you were told it was an F3. That we didn't circle back and say, wait a minute, it was an M1. Now, one of the residents is here who asked the mayor, well, what if this is not the case? And the mayor said at the time, we're looking into this at the state. I'd like to know as a resident, other than Mr. Morganelli's contact to the state of Florida, the Department of State, the General Counsel's office, who wrote the opinion that the state doesn't make opinions, but they offered some informative cases, did the town contact the Department of State and the Attorney General's office in the last 2 months? And again, the most important thing is, why didn't the council and the mayor get this March 12th letter that said clearly it's an M1?
All righty, well, thank
you.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Okay, anybody else?
Joe Morganelli, 16535 Highland Avenue. I'm hoping you're going to give me more than 5 minutes because I have obviously a lot of questions that you had asked, and I'd like to go over them before I begin on.
Speak up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There you go. Trying to find my... All right, so I want to address something that Mr. Rubio had brought up earlier in reference to the sheriff being here. So it's clear, Mayor, I had reached out to you on Saturday before that last meeting, before all of that chaos happened, and I wrote you a text message. It says, hey, Joe, I just wanted to reach out because I saw the post by Candy where she said I was calling for violence. That is 100% wrong. I only want people to talk, and I have openly said to do it with respect. I tried to call you, but not sure if you blocked me or my phone was acting up. What can we do together to ensure we keep people calm? I'm going to ask to speak that people stay respectful. So I had said that to you, and then all the chaos broke out, and now we have a sheriff here. So you can't really play, I guess you can play two sides. So to answer your question as far as why I didn't feel I would get a fair shake, so I've spent close to $800, $1,000 on records requests. I have text messages from various individuals. I have to be careful what I'm saying because obviously what you guys have sitting in front of you. I have a text message from the mayor to Anita congratulating her on a job well done on me. So I have that. So it's hard for me to sit here and say I felt I would get a fair shake because I really wouldn't have. I mean, it was quite obvious. I mean, when that whole thing sort of happened, you had the mayor's good friend back there yelling, what's going on? You're asking the questions. I have emails from Anita over here saying to you guys, not that she is not ready to discuss it, but yet you guys are asking questions. You're doubling down. It was pretty clear that I wasn't going to get a fair shake. And, you know, Grant, obviously I wasn't going to get a fair shake from you, and I respect that. I knew that going in. It is what it is. So, yeah, what were some of the other questions that you had asked? Okay, I guess the 2023 thing that you had mentioned. I have no clue what that's about. That's a new one to me, and I need to research that because I don't know where that came from or where it was at. So that's a weird one. Anita, you had done, I think it was February 4th. I wasn't really ready for some of these things right now, so I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. I have about 250 documents at home right now that I am still parsing through, and more on the way. But I think it was February 4th, you had requested from Lehigh County for $66 a copy of all my records from Lehigh County. Just so we're clear, those aren't certified. Certified is what I've had and what I posted on Facebook, which has the emblem and has the stamp and all those kinds of things. So, again, it's totally fine. They're still the same documents. I get it. I guess the question that I would have is, you're the lawyer. You've looked at those documents. When I've spoken to all the different attorneys I've spoken to since all of this, not one of them missed that. Some of them found it within 30 seconds of the discussion of looking at those documents. I have so many notes here from some of the questions, and if you want to ask some of them that you asked, I gladly will answer what I can.
Not to get too far off topic, but I think when you handed this out, you said there was this and another sheet?
Your sheet I don't have done yet. Your packet's not done yet. I'm still working on that because you have been...
the only one minus this?
No, there's one more coming yet for somebody.
Oh.
I don't know where that's from at all. So yes, no, I like I said, I'm still parsing about 250 documents. Yeah.
You got a minute left.
I was hoping you give me more time to get to answer some of these questions. Okay, thanks, appreciate it. So there's your answer, Carol, as to why I didn't feel I was going to get a fair shake. Right there, there's why. So the question that you guys are not asking yourselves, and you really should, is, does Joey want to get back up here? Quite honestly,
Mr. Rubio kind of gave that away.
Yeah, and quite honestly, you guys, no offense, but you guys are pretty damn dysfunctional. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, you're sitting here ready to spend $50,000 of our resident money. We have, what, $854,000 in unrestricted funds? We dropped from 1.4 million to 800. You're willing to go to use our unrestricted funds for that? I don't want my seat. I don't want my seat.
That's okay. You don't.
I know I'm eligible. I have an attorney for that as well. I don't want my seat. I don't want it. Why would I get back up there? I'm about to sue you guys.
Alrighty, thank you very much.
It makes no sense. It's
Anybody-
also against the
Anybody
charter
else
as well,
wanna
by
come
the
up?
way. It's against the charter for what you guys are going to be doing because I'm not a member of council. So you guys are going to be doing something
Okay,
on
thanks,
who's not
Joe.
a member of council.
Okay, let's go.
My
Next.
overriding concern is just to make sure that this town, other than the one that's coming,
Okay.
you know, just
Come on
not
up. You wanna
speaking
come
to
up?
you
Come on up.
specifically.
My name is Linda Ellsworth. I live at 14707 Lawrence View Drive. I did speak to the town council last month, and Mr. Mayor, you told me to come back next month and remind you, and you were sure the town council would do the right thing.
Yeah, it's a little hard hearing you. Just pull it towards you more. There you go.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Again, I came and spoke to you last month, and you said, come back and remind us next month, and you were sure the town council would do the right thing. Well, I'm back. My comments about everything that I've heard, I believe that the way that the information was disseminated gives the appearance and impropriety of very shady dealings. And it makes the town council look bad. It just does. Whether it was intentional or not, whether it was legal the way it was disseminated or not, it gives the appearance of impropriety and backroom dealings. The fact of the matter is, there was no felony. It's a misdemeanor. Therefore, he's qualified. The only reason that you're even questioning his qualification is for an ambiguous clause regarding possible jail time in another state. That doesn't exist here. And if you were to try to get a determination by either a court for a declaratory opinion or an arbitration ruling, such as Ms. Gallagher suggested, how long would that take? The seat would be vacant. You wouldn't even have your opinion until after another election had come and gone. But that was never even brought up. What time frame are you looking at, and you have a vacant seat? So I don't know why that question wasn't even addressed, because those options would take much longer. And my final, I guess those are my opinion, those are my comments. I just think it looks very, very bad. I do not believe Mr. Morganelli was given fair treatment. I believe this was a backroom deal. And I believe that it was just done because people didn't like him. And that's not right. People of this town voted him in. And I believe the right thing to do, the town council should have said, there were mistakes made. We're going to rectify that. We're going to put you back in the seat, unless and until there is some legal determination that you're not allowed to be there. But so far, according to the law, he has a misdemeanor, and he's qualified. That's my opinion.
Do you mind if I ask where did you get your information?
What information?
The information that you have regarding this. I mean, I know that there's multiple things.
I've come to the council meeting and I'm listening. And I'm reading what the town sent out.
Okay, that's my answer.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next.
George Rosario, my address is protected. Sean, how you doing? Joe's felony has no bearing in the state of Florida. I was also a convicted felon, and I was targeted by your city attorney as well, okay? On the city of Groveland, former mayor, and I'm still former mayor. His conviction in Pennsylvania has no bearing in the state of Florida. And I proved that. I proved that. It's going to cost you a lot of money. You want to go there? It's going to cost you a lot of money. The taxpayer is going to pay. But he's being given a raw deal here. He's being tried again for something that happened years ago in another state where it was only a misdemeanor. Yeah. And then yet, You are pursuing with trial the man again. Let's find him guilty. That's double jeopardy. That doesn't look good for elected officials. I like your town. It's a beautiful town, beautiful people. I enjoy coming through here. 455, up, all the way up to 19, all farm. I love this Lake County. But you know, you put this man through what God didn't put through. You put him on a cross, you're gonna nail him. Then you're gonna poke his right side of the rib. And I think, in my opinion, you guys need to think about this really, really hard. Because that ain't won with me. She didn't win with me. She didn't win. And I'll say it here. She did not win. The 5th District Court of Appeal reinstated me back. That's right. And yet, she sided with the council to have me still removed. That's injustice on something that happened to me in 1987 that was hand-delivered to her by an outside demons, because they're outside demons, just like there are inside demons in here too, working for the devil. I'm a Christian person, and I forgive. And I'll forgive her, because I let God take care of what she's done. But look what's left of my city. Look what's left of my city. City manager's gone. She bailed out. Now your city manager is bailing out. Something's up. Something's up. Open your eyes and think about what you're doing to your town and your people in this town. This man deserves a second chance, just like I deserve a second chance. We wasn't perfect, but y'all ain't got no, you think you got no skeletons in your closet? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
All righty, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All righty. Bring it back to council. And I guess we have to make a decision here of what we want to do. And we can look at Anita's choices or come up with something ourselves. But I personally like it. My personal opinion is we put it in front of a judge. Judge makes his decision, and we live by that decision. You guys can talk it over. Any thoughts?
I think, like I stated before, there is no good answer to this. So I take the one that I think is the safest and the best for the town, and I realize there's a price tag to it, but that's not a price tag that the town put on it. I say we go with turning it over to the courts. It's fair and it's unbiased. It's expensive, no doubt about it. But I don't see any other way to do it fairly. Well, they said he didn't want his job back.
I'm going to have you removed if you're going to do that,
There's no
Kelly,
point in reinstating
okay?
a man who doesn't want the job.
I don't want to do that, Kelly. All right? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, I mean, I think reinstatement's off the offer. He doesn't want the job back. So reinstatement isn't an option.
Anybody else?
I came into the meeting thinking about retaining the services of legal counsel until such time as Mr. Morganelli qualifies to run for town council. But the fact that he came in here with a lawsuit prepared for the town has made my decision that we should pursue a court hearing on this.
All righty. And Brian, I know you're not for that, right?
I just want to point something out. If Mr. Morganelli does not want the seat, you can't move forward with either of these options. I hope you know that, because now you're doing that to a resident, a civilian.
No,
he has to be
more
qualifying
like
or in
clarifying the
office.
law. I could look at it from that elevation.
If he doesn't want the seat or he's not in this seat, we can't continue. Am I correct or am I wrong or?
My thought is the attorney who, if you decide you want to send it to court, you're going to have to hire an attorney, and they will advise the council on that, whether they think there's standing to file the lawsuit or there's not standing, since he's not a sitting council member, he's not he's not on the ballot. So they will have to look at that information, and they will give you an opinion. And if they come back and say, look, because he's not qualifying to have his name on the ballot and he's not a sitting council member, you can't file the lawsuit, they'll give you that opinion at that time.
That makes sense. Is that all right, Brian? You like that?
No, my position remains the same.
Okay. Well, if somebody wants to make a motion on the direction we go and give the okay to go talk to an attorney and see if we have something to move forward with, and if we do, then we move forward with it. Make the motion.
It's not a motion I want to make because I don't think there are any good choices, but I do believe that that is the safest. So I'll make a notice that we seek outside counsel to represent us, and wherever the chips fall, that's where they fall.
All right, got a motion. I need a second.
Second.
Is that clear enough, Anita?
Yeah, so we'll bring back proposals from attorneys, and you'll have to choose who you want to hire, and then you can give them direction on looking into filing a court action, and they'll give you advice whether or not they're standing to do so. And if so, if you give them direction to file, then they would file at that time. But it'll all come back to council.
But the motion's clear enough to understand
Yes.
that. Okay. All righty. All in favor say aye. Aye. Against say nay.
Nay.
Okay. All right, let's go on to the next piece on the puzzle here. All right, let's go to resolution 2026. I'm sorry.
I had an amended agenda with one more discussion item. Just wanted to bring
yeah,
up
I'm
the.
sorry, I missed it. Yep. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, council. I informed council members that there was a stormwater pipe that has degraded to the point of the whole bottom end has rotted out. So I'm bringing that back to inform you that I got that process moving to get that stormwater pipe replaced. It's on, oh gosh, I'm losing my brain here, off of Alpha and Four Lakes Lane. There we go. Off of Four Lakes Lane, right near Fosgate Road. The pipe is completely, the whole bottom's rotted out, and there's a whole section in the center where it looks like a tree roots through it. And in addition, there's cabling that was bored through it at some point through the rust. So I already have those emergency repairs ordered because if we don't get it through rainy season, the cost is going to go up exponentially. So right now, I told you all about a budget of about $75,000 for that, or at least I mentioned that to you. Right now we're looking about $58,000 to $60,000 once we got everything doing, if we don't run into any issues on the site and we don't have to do any dewatering. The last one we did was exact same size pipe, was about 150 grand. So luckily we have the local contractor out there working on the sidewalk. We are going to replace it with RCP, so that will hopefully last 100 years instead of the 50 this one's lasted for the town.
What account would that going to go under?
It's probably it's a repair, so it's gonna come out of streets more than likely, streets and slash probably public works. So that'll empty out of our street repair fund.
So we're going to do a budget amendment for that account. Right.
I'll probably just try to cut further projects out of streets, not do any other streets. I think we have enough left in there to do that where I may not need a budget amendment. If I do, it'll be pretty small. I'm just going to cut the final projects we were going to do for the year out, which was some additional asphalt repairs and things along that line.
But if there's enough money, why are we even talking about it?
Because I'm required to bring it to you because it's about $50,000. It's an emergency expenditure that didn't go out to bid because it's an emergency. So I'm required you to bring that to you.
Alrighty, so we have an emergency repair that needs to be done. It's going to be over $50,000. You guys know where that is? Do you know where that is? Can you explain it again so Carol understands it?
So
Brian, do you
if-
know where it is, Brian?
It's in Four Lakes, so it's off of Alpha, backside of Mag Terrace, but it's on Four Lakes Lane, right above there.
The pipes
So-
are rotted out there.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think we have another 4 or 5 pipes in that neighborhood so that's going to be a future something we need to look at. It is on, our eyes, keeping an eye out for grants to replace all those in the future because we know there's going to be other issues down there. I mean, this is number 2 in 3 years.
Alrighty, I'll open it up to the public. Anybody want to talk about it? All right, I'll bring it back. Okay, we got to do an emergency repair. Anybody want to make a motion, move forward with it?
I make a motion that we move forward with the repairs.
I need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Then say nay. Alrighty. If you would, please, Anita, read 26-11 resolution.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, approving the federally funded sub-award and grant agreement for Project 4734076R, agreement number H1326 between the Town of Montverde and FEMA through the Florida Division of Emergency Management to provide funding for a generator for water plant number 2, authorizing the town manager to execute the agreement, attachments thereto, and any other required documents, providing for an effective date.
You want to explain this, Paul?
Sure, this is for our old well number 1. This is our generator is non-functioning there at our potable water well. This is a grant that actually Sandy put together and got the help from our local Lake County group in emergency management. It provides $108,000 for the purchase and replacement of that generator.
Okay. I'll open up to the public. Anybody want to talk about it? All right, I'll bring it back to council. Any discussion on this?
Paul, can you go over the cost on this?
Sure. The award amount is, it's kind of weird how they write that, is $108,000. The total cost of the generator is probably going to be in the $160 range, just because we got to bid it. It'll be under $200,000, and it looks like we also have another grant that's in the $30,000 range. That would help go toward this.
Now, you said loan, right? You said $108,000.
It's a grant.
Okay.
It's a FEMA grant.
Grant, okay.
And getting anything from FEMA in today's world is a remarkable task.
So we essentially pay for it, get it installed.
Correct.
Then we wait for the money to come back.
That's correct.
When would we anticipate to get that money back?
On the actual FEMA on the reimbursements aren't too bad. They're usually within 90 days after submitting. It could be worse, could be long, just depends on how they are.
Okay. Because I went through it too, and then the timeline, it shows a projected timeline of 42 months. I just wasn't.
Yeah, so generally with federal grants, getting extensions are near impossible, and a lot of people use these grants to match with other grants. So they are generally written for worst case scenarios for timing.
Okay.
So there is some extended time because it's a federal grant. You've got to go through the full, what I call the pain in the butt procurement process, where you're going to have to do the BABA and the American Steel and all those requirements and the E and all the extra stuff that's in a federal grant. So it does add about 20-25% of the cost to what we could normally do it for, generally is what you see.
Mm-hmm.
But with that said, we'll still be ahead.
So the grant amount is $108,781.50. At least the projected cost that was in here is $145,042. Where's that $36,000 different, I guess, coming from? Like, is that unrestricted or?
No, actually, it will come from our water fund, and it'll come from the normal water fund. You can't use impact fees because it's a repair replacement of existing, so it'll come from our water fund, and we're way under budget in our water fund, so we're doing pretty good.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
So currently, if we lost power, we lose that well, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we primarily in the hurricanes, we generally try to run off the one up top anyway. We fill it up before the storms come and top everything off and check everything. But that's correct. And honestly, I would have already brought it back to replace it, but we knew this was coming. It just took them forever to get the paperwork to us. So we had this award, I don't know, 6-7 months ago. But
How long has it been down?
it was down since, I don't think we had it operational last year. I mean, we can get it running, but it's surging. It's like an old World War II thing, like you kind of see from MASH, is what it looks like.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like if you hook a speaker up to it, you can hear.
Yeah, it's surging and it's old and it sometimes doesn't like to start, and so it's like a half day out there for Chuck could probably get it going if he had to, if it was that bad of a scenario, but likely we would just bring in a backup emergency if we had on one on wheels if we needed to.
But the water tower's generator's still running.
Yeah, it's in great shape. Yeah, they test that regularly.
That's replaced the back one here, right?
What's that?
The back generator here in this building?
So this one's replaced at the old well
Right.
out there. And I will say part of our the final deal that Woodward and Kern and myself was able to work out with DEP to get our $12.9 million for the shaft fee is they insist that we get the generator into the library first because that's our operational center for the town. And so that helps us kind of qualify for the hurricane fund. So that'd be one of the first projects outside of putting the water tank in that needs to get done. And so we have that funded with the grant, and that's funded at 100%. So we'll have 2 generator projects on here really quick.
This might be a stupid question, but I've learned to ask these. It's going to be natural gas, right?
Yes, by both of these. Well, the one actually at the water tank is diesel.
No, the one that's there now is diesel. But I'm saying.
Oh yeah, the one there is diesel. So we can. So what's the one up on the hill is natural gas as well,
Right,
correct?
that
It's
one is,
natural
yeah.
gas. Yeah, we'll probably convert it over to natural gas.
Okay. The reason I bring it up is now we have, I don't know, 5 different generators around here, I think.
Yep. Most of them run on diesel.
Yeah, but if they all go to natural gas, I don't know nothing about the flow of natural gas. Is there enough pressure to run those big units? Is there some kind of test that needs to be done?
I mean, yeah, I'll have the engineer just spec that out real quick. And recall too, we'll also be putting, when we put in the other well at the LFA, there'll be a generator going in there as well. So it'll be on a third. So one of those probably needs to be on diesel just in case like a big tree broke the big natural gas pipeline somewhere that fell over. It probably wouldn't hurt to have one of our water wells on diesel. That's a long-term
You could
plan.
also put a storage tank near the generator too, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm. Correct.
Oh, that's an idea, have a tank of gas?
Yeah. Yeah, most of the diesel ones obviously have a couple 300-gallon storage tanks built in under them.
Yeah, but they're only like 10-hour, 12-hour things, right?
Yeah, I think we get about a 20-hour run out of the sewer plant.
Yeah, one day, right?
Yeah, but honestly, what happens, like on the sewer plant, we have everything alarmed, so it just doesn't run when there's an outage. And even with the water, you got about 5 to 6 hours of flow. We actually go out and turn them on manually when we get the alarms out there, so we don't waste the fuel for the town.
Anybody else? Go ahead and open it up to the public. Anybody want to talk to the council about this? Okay, I'll bring it back. Need a decision if you guys are comfortable to move forward or not.
I make a motion that we approve resolution number 2026-11.
Got a motion, need a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against say nay. Ayes have it. If you would, please, Anita, 2026-12. Thank you.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, adopting the 2025 Lake County Local Mitigation and Resilience Strategy and providing for an effective date.
You want to explain that one too?
Yeah, this is just the Lake County Mitigation and Resilience Strategy, so kind of their emergency plan and recovery plans from natural disasters. Every couple years, this comes before council as they do updates and estimate costs for replacements from major flooding. So we're a participant in this, and we participate in the putting together of the document, but this is a Lake County document. We are required to be a part of this document in order to receive funding from FEMA for emergency disasters from FEMA.
Alrighty. Anybody want to talk about it?
Yeah, how is the town specifically involved in developing and reviewing this?
So they have quarterly meetings, and actually there's a few times that are monthly, depending on what they are. So Sandy attends those for us and participates in that. And usually once a year, I meet with emergency management, and we kind of discuss things. I hate to say, we're kind of more of the fly on the back, riding the coattail of this big program, because Montverde is generally small. Generally, even an emergency, we don't even man. We actually have a computer and a whole station at the emergency management office. In emergencies, we don't have the manpower to man that, so we coordinate usually with Rovan or Mineola or Howie with one of them, and they act as our person of contact, or sometimes it's fire station. But our involvement is pretty minor in the scheme of that emergency plan. Honestly, we got to be a part of it in order to receive the benefits of it.
Alrighty, I'll open it up to the public. Bring it back to council. No more questions. I need a yes or no to move forward on that.
Just a couple of questions. Basically, I think it's education. Page 60, where it says Goal 5 for mitigation efforts. I guess objective 5.5, residential structures will be removed or relocated from defined hazard areas. 5.6, residential structures will be retrofitted to withstand the physical impacts of disasters. 5.7, safety devices on transportation networks will not fail because of a disaster. So where residential structures will be removed and relocated from defined hazard areas. Can you clarify that?
Sure, and Sean actually might know, he's more involved in this, but I believe what that's referred to generally after the natural disaster, when something is uninhabitable or something has been knocked down, it's declared that it's got to come down instead of replacing it. The town's agreeing those need to be removed. And Sean, I know you've been involved. Is that correct, what I'm saying there?
That's exactly right.
Okay. But that doesn't come at the homeowner or the resident's property owner's expense?
Well, there's usually their insurances involved and the permitting, but sometimes they get FEMA funds and things like that, the personal homeowners. So there's kind of a relocation. So if someone's in a unprotected flood zone, not an X, but a true like a flood zone A, and their house went underwater in the town, like a Cape Coral, Fort Myers event, those specific flood areas, then we would agree that not to let people build back into those flood areas, which is pretty well our code anyway right now, because I think our code has to match this, or it does. And I know Sean is our planner through this process. He's actually meets and works with the state of Florida. What's the person? What is their title? The person you meet with every.
The state floodplain coordinator.
Yeah,
yeah.
So that's kind of a part of this too, where we have to talk. They review our codes and make sure they match what the state requires in order for reimbursements, and that plays into this thing too. Most of it's above me, honestly, and around me. I'm not directly involved in it, just enough to know a little bit.
And just the last thing is, again, for clarification, and this is on 62, Objective 8.2, local government emergency response and disaster recovery plans will be appropriately considered the needs of key employers in the community. I'm guessing key employers, maybe that would be the town? Or
the school.
The school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's mainly in a lot of areas like Groveland has big industrial that's more applicable, or Claremont with the big because we need to get grocery stores open and things going and big disasters.
Exactly.
Cool. No?
Alrighty. Did I open it up to the public? I'll do it again. Anybody want to talk to the council? I'll bring it back. And nobody has anything else. We need approval or not for this resolution.
I make a motion that we accept resolution number 2026-12 as written.
Got first, got a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against say nay. Ayes have it. If you would please, Anita, 2026-13.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, approving and accepting the permanent easement from Parque Verde LLC for construction of a sidewalk relating to the Ridgewood Fosgate Sidewalk Project, authorizing the mayor to execute the easement, authorizing the town attorney to record the permanent easement in the public records, providing for an effective date.
Alrighty, I'll open it up to council to speak about this.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and recuse myself from this one since it involves our property.
Alrighty.
I did have a question. For the easement itself, the address for the LLC company, Parque Verde LLC, is P.O. Box 560252. Just want to make sure that's correct because the property appraiser shows something else and so does Sunbiz. So I just want to make sure that we didn't get that wrong, or was that provided by the landowner?
It was not provided by the landowner. I'll double check that and make sure it's correct. I thought I pulled Sunbiz for their mailing address.
Yeah, for the property appraiser mailing address as P.O. Box 560312, and then Sunbiz, let's see, has the mailing address, the same P.O. Box 560312. So just
Okay, thank you.
want to make sure.
And Mayor and Council, so this is the sidewalk on Fosgate that we're putting in. The Roberts family, which is and Parque Verde, which consists of 3 members, is dedicating an easement along Fosgate, pretty well the entire run of Fosgate in front of Parque Verde's property, the nursery. The majority of it is just a 3-foot easement, except for right where that heavy curve is, and it's a 10-foot easement across there. So I just want to thank all 3 of them for giving that. It made the sidewalk where we can put a 6-foot sidewalk in and moved it a little bit further away from the road, which would have been, it probably would have been a 4-foot sidewalk without it, honestly.
And I appreciate it. Thank you very much to your family.
I do too, Grant. I'm sure that the town will in the sidewalks. Thank you.
Alrighty, well, council doesn't have anything. I'll open it up to the public. Open up the public. Anybody want to talk about the Roberts family giving Mount Verde property free for an easement? Okay, I'll bring it back to council. I need a motion to yes or say no to this. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. It's okay. You gotta look up from your phone sometimes. Joe Morganelli, 16535 Highland Avenue. Grant, thanks to you and your family for the sidewalk. That's all. Have a nice night.
Alrighty, we'll open it up. I need a yes or a no to move forward with this.
Motion to approve resolution 2026-13.
Got a motion. I need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against say nay. Ayes have it. Anita, if you would please read 2026-14.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Montverde, Florida, approving change order number 001 with Close Construction Services LLC, resulting from the town's invitation to bid 2025-02 for stormwater improvements Phase 2 Porter Avenue. Approving installation of a filter with graded inlet, connection to existing RCP, and regrading and restoration of pavement and curb in an amount not to exceed $162,972.59. And approving change order number 002 in an amount not to exceed $7,005.40 for labor and materials to deflect the water main in conflict with the drainage pipe. Authorizing the town manager to execute the change orders and providing for an effective date.
Can you explain that word that is? Okay, next.
Sorry. So council, the first change order, the 162, this is what I brought up about a month ago at a meeting. So this is the jellyfish structure that's going to go at Florence Park at the storm inlet to help improve water quality. Again, both of these are 100% grant funded for our 2 grants. The next one is a change order, putting the storm pipe in First Street. They had a conflict with one of the water mains that was there that they need to move or put the water main around, so that's a change order for that water pipe.
Okay, yeah, I know what that is now. Alrighty, any conversation here?
Paul, so Paul, it's 169,977 is essentially how much is going to cost to change these things, and I assume that's on top of the 796,235, which was the original contract. So
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And then is this also grant funded?
Yes. And this will close out our 375,000 appropriation and our $1.8 million resilient grant.
But it's the same process. We essentially pay for it up front. And
Most
get
definitely,
reimbursed.
and get reimbursed.
How
Yes.
long would it take to get reimbursed for that 169? Or
This particular grant, this is the one, if you recall, about 3 months ago, we had to come back and redo a amendment to our agreement with DEP because they didn't have the coronavirus language in there when they got audited by EPA. And so right now, our first reimbursements are going through for Lakeside, so that one's taking really long, but generally, it's about a 4 to 5 month process for reimbursement.
and then in the meantime, where does the money come from? Like, where do we pull it from?
Just out of our cash account.
That's all I got.
Yep. And just kind of, I want to just if I could piggyback a second, just to put back in your mind, now that the Shaffy's going through on the water side, we're still in the same boat. Just so we watch our cash funds, that we'll still need to do that interim line of credit that we discussed to cover, the reimbursement back. We won't need to do it for the amount we discussed, but it'll probably be in the 6 range, somewhere in there. So just a heads up, we'll get that process started again. I'll try to get that completed before September.
Alrighty, great. I'll open it up to the public. Anybody want to talk to the council about this resolution? Alrighty, I'll bring it back to council. I need a motion to approve or not to approve, or any discussion.
When's the anticipated completion date on that?
June 15th is what's in the contract, and they have to be done by June 30th, or actually June 29th, because all the paperwork has to be in for that 1.8 by June 30th. So we're keeping them under the gun on it.
And that's reasonable, in your opinion, to finish it out?
Long as they don't blow something up, yes. So.
Unless it snows.
Yeah. The worst part, is almost done, is all that underwater pipe. So now they got to do the swells, put the curbing in. They've been a lot better out there, more responsive, obviously, than the last group, and they've been talking to the neighbors, so I appreciate that. But yes, so we're on track.
Alrighty, need approval, denial, discussion.
Motion to approve resolution 2026-14.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against say nay. And last but not least, if you would please, Anita, 2026-15.
A resolution of the Town of Montverde, Florida, authorizing the town manager or designee to submit an application and any other required documents and information to Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, FWC, under the Florida Boating Improvement Program, FBIP, in order to seek funding assistance for the Montverde Lake Apopka Boat Ramp Improvement Project, designating authorized representatives to administer the grant on behalf of the town, making findings, providing assurances, providing for conflict severability, and an effective date.
All right, thank you very much. Would you mind explaining this, Paul?
Sure. This conversation started 4 years ago, and it's finally, now that Osgood is moving forward. We're kind of at a place we can do something. So this is a opportunity available for the Fish and Wildlife. I have put the application in, but the application's on hold until you guys approve this. So this will authorize $450,000 that will go toward putting a, if we got this one, we'd actually be able to put a dock in next to the boat ramp. This will be in addition to the $100,000 that Lake County is going to give us at the end of the project for the Ferndale project. So that would also go into this. And we currently have a agreement, I believe, for $250,000 into Lake County Water Authority for the boat ramp as well. So if we get all these, we're looking about $750,000 to really put a good quality ramp in there with possible a little loading dock as well, and put the parking in and stormwater. It takes three.
All righty, thank you very much. I'll open it up to the public. Bring it back to council. Need any discussion?
I think it's starting to sound like a real boat ramp and not just a road that runs off into the lake, so that's good.
Anybody else?
What's the timeline looking like on that too?
If we got this grant, I think they'll award in July, possibly July to August in that ballpark. Grant agreements will go through the fall, so you're probably looking at early next year, maybe sooner. Depending on what this contractor gives, because we have the $100,000, you might decide to go ahead and do that concrete piece in, and then use this for other things at the boat ramp and put the docks and the stalls in. So I'll try to get that information for you guys by the June meeting.
So with your time off coming up and your resignation, this should all still go pretty smoothly. It's a pretty simple one to move
If you get a dynamic manager, yes.
It's a big if.
I mean, there's obviously a lot of projects that need to be worked through.
Any other discussion?
Same, I assume it's the same, right? With the grant, we pay for it, and then they reimburse us.
That's correct.
And then I guess, so where is this money going to come out from initially?
Yeah, so it'll just come out of your general cash funds. So the $5 million-ish. And right now the town, it shows 5 on your books. The town has nearly about $1 million reimbursements on the way back. So our true, is more in the 6 range. Actually, we probably will have close to $2 million coming back here in the next few months.
Number 6 on the actual resolution, just I guess clarification. It just says the legal authority for borrowing monies to construct this project is Florida statute, etc. Is that just standard language, I assume? Because we're not borrowing money, it's a grant, correct? And we're going to take it out of...
This is language that they typically like to see in these grant agreements. It can be changed if council prefers the language to be changed.
I don't have a problem with it, it's all borrowing it.
And generally what you see this, because a lot of the water programs and sewer programs, the SRF, and our 12.9 water is an example. It's actually a loan for $12.9 million, but they're giving you 100% forgiveness up front. And so it's technically a loan document, and you sign with 100% loan forgiveness. So that's generally why you see those language sometimes in grants. It just depends on where and how the money's coming. This particular one's just true grant money coming from state appropriations.
All righty. Any more discussion? Go ahead.
I'd like to just circle back real quickly to something that Mr. Rubio mentioned earlier in terms of having our law enforcement here today. And we do appreciate you coming out and hanging out with us tonight. So thank you very much for being here. There was a time not that long ago, as a matter of fact, I think it was actually even brought up tonight, maybe by Kelly. Back in the days when the sewer discussion was happening, I'm sure most of you guys probably remember a meeting that got out of hand.
Nah.
Yeah, okay. There was no law enforcement present then, and there probably should have been. There was a meeting a month, 2 months ago, where the behavior of somebody in the gallery puts town in a situation to call law enforcement. So having the presence of law enforcement in this chamber is not unheard of. But it is nice to know that they are here and available for meetings that sometimes can get a bit heated. So just saying, it's not the first time that it's happened, and it won't be the last to have law enforcement here. And we do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do we still need to vote on this last
Yes.
resolution?
Mhm.
Motion to approve resolution 2026-15.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Against, say nay. Ayes have it. That's it for tonight. Thank you very much for coming.
No, this is where I have to make the speech about law enforcement, after the vote.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Nay.